we're still about a month away from the frost-free date here in Oklahoma, but you can get a jump start on your garden by planting some seeds inside. Now I'm planting these in the greenhouse, and we plant ours in these large flats here, but you can do this at home with something like this takeout dish, and this works really well. Now one thing that you want to remember when you're starting seeds inside is you want a finer media to plant them in. This potting soil here is really fine, and that's just better for the seeds to come up through the soil than this more coarse soil here. Now I use this plastic tray here, and you want to put some holes in the bottom for the water to drain out, and then set that inside something else so the water doesn't drain all over your floor. And fill that with media and flatten that out, and then you just take your seeds, and if they're larger seeds, you'll want to make a small trench here and put the seeds in about a ½ an inch apart, and then cover them up. And the general rule of thumb is 2 to 3 times the diameter of the seed. That's how deep you want to plant them. If you have really small seeds, you don't really need to make a trench. You just broadcast those over the top of the soil and gently firm those in. And you want to check on your seed packet and see if a seed takes light to germinate, then you'll want to not cover the seed up with soil. You want to leave it. But some of them like dark, and so you want to go ahead and firm those up and cover them up. Now after you've got your seeds in, you'll gently water them in with something like a mister would work really well. You want something that's gentle so that you don't wash the seed out or down through your soil. And you can just cover those up and set them in a warm place out of direct sunlight, and then check to make sure that they don't dry out, and they'll come up in a few days. Now seeds like, most seeds like soil at about 70 to 75 degrees temperature, and you can use something like a heat mat to go ahead and warm that soil temperature up. I know we talked about before, pansies are the exception, and they like to germinate in a cool soil, but most seeds like a warmer soil. Now once your seeds come up, you want to know when to transplant them into a larger pot. Now here you'll see these seeds, and they've got what looks like 2 leaves, but those aren't really true leaves, they're cotyledons. And you want to wait until a plant gets its first 2 true leaves. And you'll see here on these marigolds, these are the cotyledons, and then you've got your true leaves. And that's when you want to transplant them. You don't want to wait too long because their roots get too big and you'll get transplant shock. Then you just kind of loosen up the soil underneath, and then grab those by their true leaves and make a hole in here, and then put your seedling down inside gently, and then firm the soil up around that. And water those in right after you plant, because if you don't, they'll go ahead and wilt, and that's bad for your seedlings. Now if you're like me, you probably put things off, and you don't have to plant all your seeds now. You can also get these transplants at garden centers and nurseries. And there's some things that you want to look for when you're buying transplants. Now here we've got some cabbage, and generally you want to look at the whole plant, make sure you don't have any yellowing leaves. Also you want to look underneath for insects, because that's where most insects like to hide, is underneath the leaf. You'll also want to make sure that the base of the stems are healthy, and also look at the roots of the plants and make sure that they're nice and white and healthy, and that the plants aren't too overgrown. Also a good rule of thumb is just to look at all of the other transplants and see how well they're taken care of. And if you see the plants are wilted or abused in some way, you may want to find another place to get your transplants, because the key to a really good garden is starting out with healthy transplants.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.